Hey everybody, Zach again, newtutorial.com, coming in, making a video for you today. It's almost Ash Wednesday, and so it's Mardi Gras, and that's the day before Ash Wednesday, and it's the time where you see a lot of denominations of Christianity putting a little thing on their head, a little X or the cross on their head, and it's a time where they begin Lent, and they give up certain things, and it's supposed to be very Christian, very religious. And so this is the thing, you know, I love it. There's been so many people out there recently attacking Hebrew roots. And as I'm about to say in a future video, is that these people are doing so much work for us. I mean, they are just putting so much of the spotlight on Torah that they have no idea. And I get all the emails. I get the emails from people who are like, oh my goodness, I never even knew this was out there until such and such warned me about it. But you know, and the reason is because these people are under attack, and the only thing they can do is to attack back, and it just brings, everyone loves a train wreck, everyone loves a fist fight, and when they break out, when they happen, people pay attention. And so, Mardi Gras, which happens today, and then Ash Wednesday, which happens tomorrow, these things are rooted in pagan sun god worship. There is no doubt about it. Anyone who argues is either a liar or they don't know. They haven't done the research. That's your two options. Mardi Gras, Ash Wednesday, Easter, it's all rooted in pagan sun god worship. And those who say otherwise are either lying to you or they don't know. They're just uneducated. So, Mardi Gras, otherwise known throughout the world as Carnival. Carnival, it means farewell to meat. Now, there's a number of reasons why this is called farewell to meat, but, as an agricultural person, as someone who lives off-grid, who harvests my own food, grows my own gardens, and harvests my own animals, I have a better understanding of this because I've done some of it, and I'm taking the things in the Bible into account. And plus history. It's good to know history. Those who do not know history are doomed to repeat it, right? So, Carnival, farewell to meat. This happens in the springtime because during the winter time and fall and early spring, but during this time right now and before, the world is your refrigerator. Did you know that? See, they didn't have electricity back then. They didn't have refrigeration. They didn't have indoor plumbing. So right now and previously, in the months previous, the world is your refrigerator, and so you can feast on fresh meat. But see, there's a thing. When you kill the animal and you make your steak, whatever's left over isn't going to last forever if the temperature warms up. But see, you can make it last a long time in the wintertime because you can freeze it. Amazing. But see, as spring approaches, warmer temperatures approach, well, now you got a problem. Because when you butcher an animal, you have to eat it a lot quicker. Because if you don't, it's going to spoil. This is basic stuff. But see, we take it for granted because we're so used to our conveniences and comforts of the American lifestyle and Western lifestyle that we have forgotten all this. So Carnival, meaning farewell to meat, meant that now's the time to feast. Now's the time to get that fresh meat from your harvesting, from your kills, and from the animals, the livestock that you've raised. Because very soon it's going away. And so they're feasting. One of the reasons why they're feasting is because after Christmas, after the winter solstice, you have a certain amount of time where the sun starts to get a little bit higher in that sky every day. And it's return of the sun, bringing with it springtime, the return of life. You ask anyone who's an expert on either Carnival or Mardi Gras, because really they're the same thing. Carnival or Mardi Gras, they say, what's the meaning? What's the purpose of Mardi Gras? What's the purpose of Carnival? The same answer will be given every single time. It's a celebration of life. A celebration of life. Why is it a celebration of life, my friends? It's because they worship the return of the sun, which brought life, springtime. It's just, see, you can start putting these things together, two and two together. It's not that hard. But some people don't like the idea that the things associated with their church, or associated with their denomination, associated from birth with their faith, are actually linked to pagan sun god worship. And the people who do know it, they find it uncomfortable, an uncomfortable reality at offending people, at telling them the truth. Even in our movement. I don't want to tell people this, Zach. It may offend them. And then I can't get them into our church. I can't get them to be a donor is what they're really saying. So this whole thing, pagan sun god worship, Carnival, Mardi Gras. The rest of the world calls it Carnival. People in the United States call it Mardi Gras. It starts when? After Christmas. Let's go ahead and take a look at the Mardi Gras website. And this Mardi Gras website, it's mardigras.neworleans.com. This is the official Mardi Gras website. And you can see right here from the schedule, it starts on January 5th. The first event that they hold for their Mardi Gras season is on January 5th, right after Christmas. January 5th. It's called the Fools of Misrule. Fools of Misrule. And this begins the long season up until Mardi Gras. All the events, all the days, during all the weeks, all the way until Mardi Gras. And today, we're just a couple days away. But during these times, you'll see a number of things. So let's just look at some of the parades. Like we have a parade. It happened already. It happened on the February 9th. It's called the Crew of Bacchus. The Crew of Bacchus. Now, this points right back to Nimrod. And you're like, well, Zach, how is that possible? It's Chewbacca. That's Star Wars. It has nothing to do with Nimrod. Well, actually, it does. See, this is a book called Bacchanal. Bacchanal, right here. And this book, Bacchanal, was written by a guy who did a study on the history of Carnival. And in many places throughout the world, it's called Bacchanal, after the Roman god Bacchus, who was the god of revelry, rebellion, and of wine. And so Bacchus, if you do the translation for it, Bacchus, meaning, we know what Bar means, son of, Bacchus, son of Cush. Who was the son of Cush? It was Nimrod. Nimrod was the son of Cush. Bacchus, Bacchanal, Bacchus. It's all related. Well, why is Bacchus related with Mardi Gras? Well, it's sun god worship. It goes right back to sun god worship. We'll keep proving this over and over again as we go. But yeah, one of their parades they have here is called Chewbacchus. Now they've added Chewbacca, to kind of get to be trendy because Star Wars is trendy, right? And so they call it instead of Bacchus, the crew of Bacchus or the parade of Bacchus. It's called the Chewbacchus, to make it trendy. But that's one of that's Nimrod. Nimrod right there in the Mardi Gras parade. It's a parade for Nimrod. I mean, see, it doesn't take a lot, again, of smarts to put all this together. One of the other parades is the crew. This is one of the main parades leading up to, this happened just a couple days ago, leading up to the actual Mardi Gras, which will be on Tuesday, tomorrow. This is called the Crew of Isis parade, and it's one of the major parades during Mardi Gras. And Isis was a goddess of Egypt, who one of the letters that spells her name is an egg. And eggs were hung in the temple of Ra, a sun god worshiping temple in Egypt. You see, they worshiped Isis because it's related to sun god worship. It goes right back to Egypt. And they're doing it during Mardi Gras. Why? Because Mardi Gras and Carnival are all linked to sun god worship. Again, you don't have to be a genius to figure this out. The dots connect if you will let them. If you will let them. When you go and you look at Ash Wednesday, and which we are about to come across in a couple of days, you will see, even on the Wikipedia page, it says related to Mardi Gras and Carnival. Mardi Gras and Carnival. Because they're all related. Mardi Gras and Carnival start after the winter solstice, because after the winter solstice, you have that sun getting higher in the sky every single day. It's a return of the sun. It's a celebration leading up to the return of the sun. And it was usually celebrated with a lot of orgies and promiscuity and things like that. And the Roman Church eventually came in and said, okay, we understand you're worshiping the sun, that's fine, but you have to stop it at this point because now we're going to Christianize it. And after this point, this certain day, we're going to prepare you for Easter, which is actually the spring equinox, because they wanted to Christianize the actual spring equinox and bring all of these people underneath the Roman Church. So they said, okay, you can keep your festivals, you can keep your Bacchanal, you can keep your Carnival, you can keep all of your festivities that you're doing, but on this day, it's going to end. And you have to do this and this and this and this to prepare for the spring equinox when the sun gets to its point that it needs to get to. Okay, the equal of the earth. Okay, That's when it started. And you have, all these websites that talk about it. And, look at this painting here. So this is the painting I wanted to show you. So this was written by a guy named painted by a guy named Carl, I can't pronounce his last name, Spitzweg. And so this painting right here is a painting he did on Mardi Gras or Carnival. Now, notice the painting, okay? This was, I think, done back in the 1800s. And it's a guy in a clown suit, in a party suit. He's partying. He's dressed up for a party. And he's depressed. Why is he depressed? It's because the party's over. The party's over. Oh, and look at the window. What's coming through the window? It's rays from the sun. Because they're there to celebrate the party. It's the party to celebrate the return of the sun. It's about sun god worship. And this guy, the party's over. I guess I have to wait till next year. Now Lent begins because Rome stopped the party. It goes all about sun god. So you look up the words carnival, and you start doing your research, you'll find they're all linked together. Ash Wednesday, Carnival, Mardi Gras. And when you really do the work, you will find that all of this stuff links back to sun god worship in both Babylon and in Egypt. Babylon and in Egypt. Isis, her name is spelled with an egg. Okay, eggs have always been symbols of fertility. You look up you look up the Egyptian Book of the Dead. And you will find that according to the Egyptians, the Egyptian Book of the Dead, the earth and the sun were created from an egg. So, when you get to the point where you're getting to Easter, it's Easter time. How do we celebrate Easter? With an egg. It's all linked together. And the Christian church is knee-deep into it. They're knee-deep into pagan sun god worship, idolatry, and they don't even know it. I didn't know it either. I was one of those people. I celebrated that. We dressed up for Easter. We did chocolate bunnies. We did the Easter egg hunts. We did all that. But see, one day I learned. I researched. And I said, I can't do this anymore. This is not just some harmless tradition. See, I love my Creator. I love my Father. And I am grateful for the sacrifice He made in His Son, Yeshua, who spilled His blood for me, for all of us. As a nation, all of us, not just America, I'm talking about the nation of Israel, the ones we are grafted in, according to Paul, chapter 11 of Romans. We're all grafted in to the commonwealth of Israel. He spilled His blood for us. If I'm going to be truly grateful, I will no longer continue to revel in practices that are rooted in pagan sun god worship of another god that people before us, long before us, used to worship. I used to do that. I used to be guilty of that. But see, once I saw my error, I corrected it. You won't find any disciple in your New Testament keeping Easter. You won't find any of your disciples in your New Testament keeping Mardi Gras or Carnival the way the entire world keeps this celebration. It's a worldly celebration. No, Paul says you will be set apart. You will be a peculiar people. Peter says you will be a peculiar people. That's what the disciples say. Well, what did they do? You see them all throughout the New Testament keeping Passover, keeping the feast of the days of unleavened bread. You see them keeping Yom Kippur. Paul refers to the fast in the book of Acts. You see them keeping the feast of Sukkot, the feast of tabernacles. You see them doing those things. You don't see them keeping All Saints Day. You don't see them keeping, Easter and Christmas and all this stuff. No, they're keeping the feast of the Lord. They're keeping the feast of God. He says, these are my feasts. The reason the Father says, these are my feast, is because the world has all their feast for their gods. While the world is celebrating their feast to their gods, He says, these are my feast to the living God. Yeah. Choose this day who you will serve. We'll leave it at that. Go home, read your Bible. Thanks.